Borodar, and welcome to match day 41. Wrexham taking on Burton Albion in this lunchtime kickoff at the Stoke Kairas. Spring has sprung in North Wales. It's a glorious sunny Saturday lunchtime, and Burton Albion arrive in town with a few old faces well known in these parts, both on and off the pitch. Wrexham, having done so well for so long this season, can see the finishing line in sight. But with Wycombe Wanderers also in action this lunchtime against Reading, this, you feel, could be a key day in deciding which of these two clubs may well take that second spot when all is said and done in a few weeks' time. A fascinating 90 minutes in prospect, and with me as ever in the sunshine, Mia Roberts and Andy Morell. Now, when we get to this stage in the season, the football cliche book goes into overdrive. So, Andy, 6 games from the end, you would describe as?
Squeaky bum time.
Squeaky bum time is
when
solid.
When you've got something to play for.
When you've got something to play for. Mia?
Business end of the season.
The business end. Oh, that's one of the greats. That's one of the, almost implying like the first part was sort of social and leisure.
Yep.
And then there's like a sort of change, and then this is the business end. The business end indeed it is, Mia, and 6 from home. Now, Wrexham's running we'll come to in a minute and compare it to Wycombe's and potentially Charlton's, because they're going to have a big say. They've still got both Wycombe and Wrexham to play. Is there a moment from a playing perspective when you think this is the final burst? And if so, are we there yet?
I think so. I think, as soon as you go past that sort of 10 to go mark, you know, right, we've not got long left. This is the part when, you sort of do start feeling that 40 game a season sort of in your legs, I think. And, those players will be fully aware of that, but they'll know, they'll be looking at that table going, well, we've put ourselves in such a good position. We've just got to find that extra percent and really try and get over the line.
It feels like the last 10 games has just gone like that. It wasn't only a few moments ago we were saying, 16, there's still plenty of games to play for, and suddenly you bang, you're 6 games in.
Saturday, Tuesday, they soon get knocked off.
Thankfully we had a really good March, picked up a lot of points and has kept us right in amongst it, and now you're right, business end, here we go, 6 games to go, our running isn't too bad, let's go for it.
Well, let's have a look without further ado at the Wrexham team named by manager Phil Parkinson to take on Gary Bowyer's Burton Albion this afternoon. The starting 11 is identical to the one deployed at Cambridge in midweek. This has very much become the formula that the manager has stuck with over the last few games. So Okonkwo in goal, back 3, Brunt, O'Connell and Cleworth, Longman right wing back, McLean left wing back, James, Dobson and Rathbone in the middle. Once more, Smith and Rodriguez paired up top. One change on the bench. The eagle-eyed amongst you will note that Callum Burton makes a very welcome return as the substitute. Goalkeeper Mark Howard making way. Great to see Burton back involved again alongside Tom O'Connor. Dan Scarr, who's already racked up by my maths 31 sub-not-used appearances this season. He'll hope, of course, to change that this afternoon by getting on at some point. Ryan Barnett, Elliot Lee, Stephen Fletcher and Jack Marriott. Andy, your reflections on the selection?
Yeah, I don't think that was such a surprise really, the way that they've been, and it looks like, as Mia said last week, that it looks like that's what it's going to be for the rest of the season really, unless an injury occurs. But I thought he could have gone to Longman and Barnett on both wing backs and maybe taken McLean out, or Elliot Lee maybe a bit of a shout to freshen up the midfield, but he's decided to keep it. Dobson's not done much wrong, has he, by scoring and playing in amongst it, so not surprised. And it's go again, off you go, it's shirt still yours.
And a couple of players still not managing to break into the 18, Mia, and one that I called out a few weeks ago, which has not come true even closely, has been George Evans, who still is, unfortunately for him, having to run around before the match, do some fitness work, but can't break in. But these are players who still might be required, depending on how injuries and form go in the final few games.
Yeah, you just never know what sort of twists and turns are going to happen. Obviously we hope that no one does get injured or anything like that, but you just don't know in football. It's a weird sort of game, especially as you enter the last few weeks of the season. These little niggles that maybe players have had for a few weeks do become a little bit more serious as they get more minutes in their legs in what's been, a fairly few busy, particularly this last week, obviously with the Saturday, Tuesday. So it'll be really interesting. I think, you know, we sort of pushed for that. Maybe George Evans, even Harry Ashfield, we thought might play a little part, especially with Andy Cannon coming out. And I think that's an interesting one that maybe is a bit of a shame we haven't seen. But then, you know, you look at the results and the team that's gone out there have been putting them points on the board. So you can't argue with that at all, in my opinion.
I think Tom O'Connor also plays in that central midfield as well as that left-sided one, so he offers a couple of options. I know George Evans can play at the back, but he probably just covers the base that George Evans would be on the bench for.
Yeah, I mean, O'Connor's the perfect bench man, isn't he? Because you could even play him at left wing back if you wanted to. You know, there's so much versatility in him. Burton Albion just running out for their warm-up behind us. And Andy, I know you had a chance to catch up with your old friend Gary Bowyer, their manager, earlier today. Was he able to give you any insights?
No.
Keeping it tight, was he?
Absolutely, yeah. I had a slightly boozy evening in a Blackpool playoff presentation thing a few months ago, and a really nice guy, really down to earth. He actually reminds me of Phil Parkinson, the way that he manages, because he's very, very steady, a little bit old school, you could maybe say, but he sets up his teams really well organised, and these have been brilliant since he's come in. Really, they were adrift, 9 points adrift when he come in, and had no chance of staying in the division, and they've got a game in hand to come out the bottom four in a couple of weeks' time. Their running isn't easy, and they've had a few injuries as well to boot, but really good guys turned it around. I think if he had been in from the start, his marry up points per game they'd be 11th and comfortably staying in the division. So this is going to be tough. Their away form is good. They'd be mid-table with their away form, so they've got to be bang at it, Wrexham, to get anything out of this game.
Yeah, Burton just one win away from getting out of the relegation place. They've got a game in hand on Bristol Rovers. We will look at the permutations at top and bottom shortly, but I think Phil Parkinson might be ready to come in and have a little catch-up with me before we look at the tables. Phil, fantastic to see. A beautiful afternoon for the lunchtime kickoff against Burton Albion. What sort of challenge are you expecting from Gary Bowyer's side today?
3-4-3. Recent games have set up that way. Decent energy in the team. Obviously a team who've been fighting for their lives nearly the whole season, and they've given themselves a chance, haven't they, with recent results. So it'll be a good game. They're obviously a better team than their current league position suggests. I think the form since Gary's come in has been around mid-table form. So yeah, like any game, it's going to be a keenly contested one.
Two or three well-known faces, of course, in the Burton Albion squad. James Jones not involved today, but Anthony Ford, John Daddy Bodvarsson are around. Is that a good thing, a bad thing, or an irrelevant thing?
Yeah, listen, it's obviously I'm sure Gary will have been picking the brains of those three, but listen, Gary will have done his homework anyway, like we do on them. But yeah, as a manager, you utilise everything at your disposal.
You've been through plenty of run-ins in your managerial career, Phil. You've guided two teams successfully out of this division. When it comes to this point in the season, does your role move a bit from strategy and tactics more to psychology in getting the players to keep cool heads when they can see the end of the line?
Yeah, I think concentrating on the process and not the outcome is key. Moments in games like the other night where we've conceded and sticking to the game plan in the belief of how we were going to get back in the game, and I was pleased the way we did that. So yeah, it's about the process, it's about understanding what we need to do today in terms of the spaces we can find around their midfield too. I think that's always important when we play this against this system. Rodriguez popping in the 10 role and our 2-8s stretching their midfield too is always key, and on the flip side of that, it's dealing with their 2 10s. But we've played against this system a lot. We know what we've got to do. We've got to be nice, compact out possession, and we've got to make sure we switch the play and really stretch the game when we've got the ball.
I don't want to dip too much into the Cambridge game, Phil, because you've discussed the talking points from that. But how long did it take to kind of kick away the hangover from that when you were back in training?
Wednesday off, Thursday back in, and the lads who play don't do a great deal 2 days after a game anyway, so they just had a recovery day, and it wasn't until yesterday we had a team meeting and discussed a few points from that game. One of them I've just mentioned about responding well, maybe in the first half not showing enough of a killer instinct when we had them really where we wanted them to be. Just as always, a review, not overboard on it, because you've got to quickly move on to the next game.
crucial Thames Valley derby today, happening at the same time as your game. Is it helpful that Wycombe are playing at the same time, or does it not really matter to you?
I mean, of course, there's nothing which can happen there which will change our determination to win the game, or we're not going to go for a draw. Obviously we're going to go all out to win. So we'll be at the end when we find out the results. But as always, it's a focus on what we need to do today.
And just very finally from me, Phil, Callum Burton preferred to mark Howard on the bench today. What was your thinking behind that?
Yeah, I just think Callum's played a couple of reserve games now, and Mark's done well also. It's a tough call because Mark's done great, and I just wanted to brought Callum in as number 2, and I feel he's got himself into a really good place, and very unlucky when he got injured. So we're bringing him back in today, and sometimes you've got to make those decisions.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Phil, as ever, for joining us. We'll see you full time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson giving his thoughts ahead of today's battle with Burton Albion. Let's remind you of where the table sits before we get into this one today, because as I was mentioning at the end of that interview too, Phil, Reading face Wycombe also at 12:30, so early start in the Thames Valley derby. So we will know at full time here pretty much how that shakes things up at the top. We'll come to that in a minute, but if we start at the bottom, there's Burton Albion in 21st position, having beaten Leyton Orient last time out. They've got a game in hand on Bristol Rovers. And Andy, if you look at the bottom of that table, those 4 bottom teams, I think, have been in the bottom 4 places virtually all season. They've swapped around a bit, but they have been the 4 below the waterline. And then you've had Bristol Rovers and Northampton, who've constantly hovered. But so often in football, we've seen it over the years, haven't we, where a team that haven't really been below the line all season suddenly get dragged into it at the end. And I guess that's what Gary Bowyer is saying to his players. We can haul one of these teams beneath us.
Yeah, well, he came in with the attitude that they've got nothing to lose. They're 9 points adrift anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Anything's going to be pretty much better than what they were. And they're right in there, and you can see the goal difference. If they win their game in hand, then they go above Bristol Rovers, which is remarkable from where they were. But they have only won 9 games this year, so winning that game in hand is so tough. And even winning games in general just is so difficult in this level that those 4 teams are just finding it really hard to get out. And you've seen the games, we've had really tough games against Crawley, Cambridge were drawn twice too. They're fighting for their lives, but they find it really difficult to just get that momentum of winning a game.
Yeah, that's always the challenge, isn't it? Getting that first win and getting moving. Now let's go to the top of the table, because this is where things get quite a lot more complicated and lots of variations are ahead of us. So as we go into this one, Wrexham have played 40. They've got 6 to still play. So have Charlton in 4th position. And Wycombe Wanderers, sitting there in 3rd, have got that extra game in hand. That is away at Huddersfield. So you can see Wrexham 3 points clear of Wycombe in 2nd place. Wycombe with a slightly better goal difference, not much in it. But if Wycombe win that game in hand, then it's all level pegging again at 78 points. The Wrexham run-in, though, 6 fixtures left, and only 2 of their opponents are currently in the top 10. Wycombe's 7 games to go, 6 of their opponents are in the top 10. And don't rule out Charlton just yet, because as you can see, they're in red hot form at the moment, and they face both Wycombe and Wrexham, travelling to both back to back around Easter. Mia, Mystic Mia, as we might call you, how's all this going to play out?
Well, you wouldn't like to put a bet on it. I know it's Grand National today, but I don't think many people will be, putting a lot of money on either one of those 3. It is 3 teams, isn't it? I mean, the job Nathan Jones has done since he's come in at Charlton is absolutely fantastic.
You ruling Stockport out?
I mean, looking at it, maybe I should say 4, shouldn't I? Really, to be fair, But no, it's such a difficult one, and obviously, like you say, with Charlton having to play both Wrexham and Wycombe, it's so interesting and makes for such entertainment in this league, and just shows how competitive it's been this year. It's been absolutely brilliant, I think. But we talk about the run-in and playing teams on paper with what we expect. I think Tuesday night is the biggest demonstration that we shouldn't do that, because we looked at probably that Cambridge game as, I think in a way we come away with that really happy with that point. But we looked at the Wycombe one particularly, and we were looking at that thinking that's going to be a real goal difference boost for Wycombe. Going up against Shrewsbury at home as well, we thought that would be sort of already done and dusted, and that goes to show that coming up against these teams low in the table, nothing is actually clear and done. So no, it's going to be a really fascinating watch now over these next few weeks, and yeah, we just got to hope that Wrexham stay where they are on that table at the moment.
And the one point, Andy, that we've kind of moved on from a little bit because of Wrexham's success is making sure they make the playoffs, but it's nearly mathematical now, not quite, and it can't be mathematically secured today however results go, but that gap of 16 points to Reading in 7th, in all probability 99.999% worst possible outcome for Wrexham is the playoffs, which if you said that to everybody in here on the opening day against Wycombe, I think everyone would have ripped your hand off.
Yeah, absolutely, and something drastically has to go wrong for us to drop out of those playoffs now. There's such a big gap, and our form would be horrendous going into them if we do just cling on and hang in there. I think we've just got to look at game by game. I know it's cliche time and boring, but we've got to get over the line in this one today. That's a tough. Wycombe away at Reading is not tough. We've found that already this season, that it's a tough place to go. And so you look after yourselves, don't worry about them. You can always have a look after the game. You've got to make sure you come out with the right intensity, the right endeavour. We were brilliant at Exeter away. We really came out with an intensity and a drive to go for them. They've got to do the same again today.
Well, as we said, it's a huge game here today at the Stoke Kairas, and huge games tend to bring huge personalities to come and watch them. And a few minutes ago, when Andy was catching up with Gary Bowyer, well, Mia had the chance to catch up with someone almost as famous as the Burton Albion manager. Yes, great to have co-chairman Ryan Reynolds in the stadium today, and as ever, making his presence felt, working his way around the ground. There he is, catching up with Mia, and quite clearly, Mia, in awe of your punditry and telling you that he'd be hopeless in that role, if I could hear what he said correctly.
He's not come to watch the football, he's come to meet Mia, by the way. You didn't
so
know that,
everyone.
No, they were really kind of him to come over and say he's enjoying Matchday Live and the co-coms, which is obviously really nice. Obviously he obviously can't get to every single game here this season, so does have to follow over on the iFollow. So no, really nice to hear he's enjoying it, and obviously great to see him here today. Hopefully he can bring us a bit of luck.
An introduction would have been nice as well. Do you know what I mean? A little heads up. Do you know what I mean?
Hopefully next time, Andy.
Yeah.
Be patient. In midweek, Wrexham made the cross-country schlep to Cambridge United. It was an entertaining evening out in the East. Wrexham, though, having to be happy with a point. This was a match, though, packed with incident.
Takes a touch, trying to find space for a cross, digs one out with his left foot, that's blocked well. Matty James now has it, right foot across from the left-hand side to the back post. Another good header clear. George Dobson brings it down. He's going to hit it from distance. Hits it low and in. A brilliant hit by George Dobson in the 3rd minute of this game. And George Dobson could not have picked out the bottom corner any better. What a hit and what a start for Wrexham. Ballard looking for the through ball down the right-hand side. Crossing opportunity across 6-yard box. Does get a flick to it. Max Kloof touched it. It's somehow stayed out, but it doesn't for much longer. Bennett equalises. After a fantastic early save as Max Kloof deflected that one goalward, but in the end the rebound's fallen kindly and Liam Bennett levels for Cambridge. Corner well by Stevenson, wasn't the best pass though to Brophy. Watts goes long again. It's Loft tripped on the edge of the box, penalty. Just seconds into the second half. From the penalty spot against Arthur Okonkwo, steps up, sends Okonkwo the wrong way. And early in this second half, Cambridge United lead 2-1. Kloof has options at the back post, looks to pick them out. It's a good cross, it's headed clear by Gibbons. James. Now McLean. Rathbone. Dobson has got Kloof alongside him. Here is Max Kloof. He's going to hit it low from the edge of the box. Hits it really well. And I think Bishop got a touch. He did. Just over the bar, Wrexham corner. Ryan Longman making his run on the right-hand side. A chance for Longman to cross perhaps. He goes round Brophy, crosses right footed, across 6-yard box. Sam Smith's header into the back of the net. Sam Smith levels against his former club. Runs across to the away fans. Brilliant cross from Ryan Longman. Just who was saying he's being pegged back. He finally got the chance to go forward. And that's the delivery we wanted. Low pass to Dobson, who's got a moment of space, threads the ball through to Sam Smith, and Sam Smith runs onto it from a tight angle. Bishop gets there, Rafford's going to be the follow-up. That's a brilliant block by Morrison, the captain. Lee dancing away, being wrestled by Digby, and he's done really well to keep possession. Elliot Lee, another little tug before he plays the ball through to Dobson. Dobson takes a touch, he couldn't quite release Barnett with it. 4 minutes to be added on. Ryan Barnett with a chance to cross right-footed. Barnett does cross, bounces to Lee, Lee hits it and it's over the bar. A huge chance for Elliot Lee. and you'd back him every day, but the ball just did not sit kindly for him. On the right wing, can Barnett find a crossing chance? Hits Malone, corner kick. One final throw of the dice for Wrexham. Lee delivers, deep corner, it's gone behind. The flag went up straight away. Owen O'Connell headed it in, but the linesman's flag had already gone up. Bishop prepares to deliver, and the referee blows the full-time whistle. Cambridge United 2, Wrexham 2. The points are...
All square at the Abbey Stadium then in midweek, and certainly one of the most eventful games Wrexham have been involved in this season. Apart from a red card, Mia, there wasn't much else that didn't happen in that game. Hard to know where to start with talking points, but maybe Sam Smith's header might be a good one. I mean, that was, from a technique perspective, absolutely top draw, wasn't it, for his fourth for the club?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic, and I think that takes it now to, in the last 5 games, either him or Rodriguez have scored in each. So no, absolutely brilliant header, and that's what we brought him in to do, you know, those sort of moments. But no, it was a brilliant game. I thought, you know, really end to end at times. I agree with what Phil said in the pre-match and post-match after the Cambridge game, and we sort of obviously got that early goal through Dobson, and then it was sort of a bit too easy for us, if anything. I think maybe we sort of fell into that trap thinking it was going to be too similar to the Exeter game that had just gone on the Saturday, and that wasn't the case at all. Fair play to Cambridge, they really came out, they played some really good football at times, and it was a fantastic game. And you know, obviously we had the chances at the end to win it, and we haven't seen too many angles of that corner to really know 100% if the ball does go out or not, but no, really fantastic game. And obviously I think, like I said earlier, I think you've got to be happy with the point from that, to be honest.
Andy, penalties are so often talking points, aren't they? And that one in midweek, a particular talking point. Referee Thomas Parsons has since apologised to Phil Parkinson for giving it. What were your reflections on that moment?
Well, I saw it and I thought it's soft, but I still thought it was a penalty. I think Brunt got the wrong side of him, and there's a pullback, and you sort of put yourself in the decision or the hands of the referee, and he gave it. Yeah, Phil Parkinson not happy at all afterwards, saying it was the softest one of ever, but I'm sure he'd be shouting for it if it was in the other box as well. And we got a bit lucky with the Exeter penalty as well. It wasn't a blatant cutthroat one, so you get some and you don't. Like me, I thought it was a brilliant game. I thought it was very, very good, and I overheard the commentators from the Cambridge radio saying that where have we been all season, sort of thing, because that was one of their better performances at home, and that's what we bring out in these teams. So that's why we have to be right bang at it at every game. There's no freebie in this league.
So that was Tuesday night's affair over in Cambridgeshire. Let's have a look at what else is happening around League One today. As we said, it's a tasty derby between Reading and Wycombe taking place concurrently with this fixture at 12:30. So we'll certainly keep you across that at half-time and at full-time in Matchday Live. Champions-elect Birmingham are at home to mid-table Barnsley. Bolton, whose form's up and down a bit, are facing Bristol Rovers, who are the team that Gary Bowyer and Burton will have firmest in their sights. Informed Charlton at home to Lincoln. Exeter face Stockport County, who are still in the automatic promotion mix at the moment. Huddersfield with form a little bit up and down against a Mansfield team who've improved enough to get themselves away, you'd think, from relegation worries. Leyton Orient against Wigan, where Wrexham head next week. That's another 12:30 kick-off, and I'm delighted to say Matchday Live will again be on the road to Wigan, so we look forward to seeing you for that game next Saturday. Peterborough face Northampton, bit of a local derby that one. Rotherham against Blackpool. Shrewsbury and Cambridge, two teams in the bottom four squaring up. And Stevenage against struggling Crawley. Mia, that looks a must-win for Stockport at Exeter, you'd feel, if they're going to really stay in the mix with Charlton, Wrexham and Wycombe for the second automatic spot.
Yeah, I think so, and you know, like I said before, it kind of is almost a four-horse race at the moment. I mean, you know, at first I sort of ruled them out a little bit, but then looking closer, you know, you can really see that they're still in with a real chance, and this is where, you know, you've got to just pick up the 3 points no matter how in these going into these last few games, and I think it's a really interesting battle. I mean, someone else I think deserves huge credit at Blackpool. I think they've been in real form.
They're going to get in the playoffs at this point.
Well, that's another really interesting talking point, and I think obviously we've got them on in a few weeks on the Monday. That could be a really interesting game for both sides. So many talking points in this league, like we said earlier, and it's been a great season. I think so many talking points, like I say, for a lot of clubs in it, and it's just been so competitive, which is what you want to see in football, isn't it? So it's great.
Yeah, and your former club, of course, Blackpool. Niall Ennis getting goals for Steve Bruce now, and Bruce's experience, another one a bit in the Gary Bowyer, Phil Parkinson, been there, done that, got many T-shirts category, giving them a hell of a chance of getting 6th.
Yeah, and the shackles are off, aren't they? Because there is no pressure on them. They're quite a way off, but then suddenly you get a little bit of momentum, 3 or 4 wins on the spin, and you suddenly got eyes up, and they're the ones chasing you from behind. So yeah, credit to them as well, and they'll be really pushing to win the last 6 and get right in amongst it.
So today is not only an important game for Wrexham on the pitch, but it's equally so off it, because this afternoon is the club's designated Her Game 2 fixture. This is an opportunity for us to really celebrate the people that are working around the club to ensure that women feel equally involved as men in supporting the club and having access to all the enjoyment and opportunities that men have had over the years in following their local team. Mia had the chance to catch up earlier with Wrexham's official Her Game 2 ambassador, Chelsea Humphreys.
Morning, Chelsea. Welcome to Matchday Live. Great to have you on. You're currently club ambassador for Wrexham for Her Game 2. I think it's just firstly important. What is Her Game 2 to people who might not be aware of it?
Yeah, so Her Game 2 is a voluntary campaign or organisation that helps eradicate sexism, but we also champion women in football. That includes from the fans all the way up to the staff included in the club and the players as well.
That's brilliant. Obviously, being club ambassador for someone who's from Wrexham and has always been a Wrexham fan, how special is that for you?
It is so special because it's just everything I stand for, and then to do it with my own club that I followed all my life, it's just really special. I'm actually really proud to be a part of it and to be involved with my own club with the campaign.
Yeah, and today and tomorrow, actually, the women's game as well, are both dedicated Her Game 2 fixtures.
Yeah.
What does that sort of entail, and what makes them different to maybe last week's game?
Yeah, so it's just getting our name out there and showing that the club actually back the campaign and that the club really like the campaign as well, and that they stand for what we stand for as well. So you will see the T-shirts, the players wearing the T-shirts and warming up in the T-shirts, which just warms my heart, to be honest. You'll see them on the advertising boards, and everyone just chats about it, and hopefully we can just raise awareness from there.
Absolutely. We had Nick Hughes from Merched Kairas on the show a few weeks back. How important are campaigns like this for women in sport, not only just in the racecourse but outside of it as well?
Yeah, that's it. They're so important. With Merched Kairas, they are actually partnered with Her Game 2 as well, so we all interlink, and it's just women struggle to come to football games, some women, and campaigns like this and supporters trust like the Merched Kairas just really help and just boost women and help them come to the games or even just watch the games and chat about football.
Yeah, and Her Game 2, I think it's important to note as well, isn't just for girls and women, it's also about education for boys and people like that as well, to make sure they're aware of the importance of women in sport, and I think that's so important as a part of Her Game 2 as well.
Yeah, that's it, and it says it in the name, it's Her Game 2, it's not just her game, we want everybody to be aware that we're here, but yeah, it's just educating everybody, isn't it, and making everybody aware.
And have you already seen signs of change in the last few years?
Definitely. When I first started supporting Wrexham, I was a victim of sexism a lot, and that was when, I don't know whether it's because the club was smaller at that stage or whether we weren't doing very good at football, or is it just because campaigns like Her Game 2 weren't around? It was a taboo subject. People don't like talking about it, but that's what we're here for. We're here to talk about it. I haven't, touch wood, experienced sexism in a long time. It's still there, but we're fighting it.
Well, the work you're doing is absolutely fantastic, so hopefully it all goes well going forward. Thanks for coming on, Chelsea.
Thanks for having me, Mia.
Chelsea Humphreys, Wrexham AFC's Her Game 2 ambassador, catching up with our very own Mia Roberts around about half an hour ago. Mia, great to have today's match designated as the Her Game 2 fixture. What kind of initiatives are you seeing now appearing in and around football which are really making significantly more inclusive and attractive for women to come to games?
Well, first of all, I think things like Her Game 2 are so important just for women, not only women and girls, but also boys and men, to see players warming up in shirts that say Her Game 2. It's little things like that people might not notice that do make a difference for just one little girl even to see that and go, actually, yeah, I am. I can go to a men's senior football game and feel comfortable and feel like it's, you know, it is a place that I can go to, and I think that's so important. It's these little things that maybe people don't pick up on that can make such a real difference, even if that's just to a small minority of people. But yeah, I think we've already seen such change. I mean, already in the racecourse, I remember when I was coming here, you know, when I was younger, you wouldn't see many girls or women in the stands, and I think that's changed dramatically, and that's brilliant because, you know, that's what it's all about. You need gender equality in this sport. It's so important, not only, you know, from a sort of social point of view, but also that responsibility that the club has to make sure that they're allowing female fans to have just as much of a say and a voice and participation as male fans as well.
So you talk about awareness and people being aware of what Her Game 2 means and the movement, if you like. But in terms of the practicalities on a match day, what are some of the things that are quite tangible that a female football fan would say, well, that gives me a better experience than it used to?
Well, I think, you know, like I say, seeing the T-shirts, just knowing that today, for example, is that dedicated fixture, it just means there's an extra sort of knowledge of right, there are things in place. If something gets said to me, if there are words used in a chant or whatever that are discriminatory towards women, that there's a procedure in place that can be removed, and that isn't something the club or, you know, people around us in this space, actually, that's not their views, that's not their opinions, that's not what they represent. So I think that's so important. It gives, you know, women and girls in particular that extra sort of comfort when they come to the games, knowing that there's that protection in place, and, you know, the club won't stand for it, and that is, you know, overall the overarching view, which is absolutely correct.
And what are some of the things, Mia, that you look at and think that still needs to change, that's still a big barrier we've got to get over?
Listen, I think obviously it is a societal issue, isn't it? That still, you know, whether it's me on a sideline or a woman in a stand, that can still often hear, you know, comments that are maybe derogatory towards women in football, and that shouldn't be the case. And like I say, that's a societal issue. But it begins here. It begins with, you know, senior voices and senior men in particular being that sort of ally for women that show that to other men, and particularly younger men, maybe that needs to change, and that's not right.
Well, big thanks to Chelsea Humphreys, who takes on that role voluntarily as the Her Game 2 ambassador for the club, and also, of course, to NYCR, the Women of the Racecourse, which is another great support group, already very active in and around Wrexham AFC. So check them out on the social channels, give them a Google, you'll soon find the information, and if it's something you're keen to get involved with, it's pretty straightforward to join in. All right, well, we look as ever on Matchday Live at players who have represented both the teams in action. But this week, we thought, actually, there are two players who are already in the Burton squad at the moment, who've got a rich recent history with Wrexham. So today, we want to celebrate the return to the racecourse of James Jones and Anthony Ford. And they, of course, both had some very special moments in the red shirt.
He's got Barnett to his right, he comes back the other way looking for Ford. Anthony Ford cuts inside, it's Ford to shoot! He's done it! Anthony Ford with the breakthrough! The Irishman with his third of the season beats Will Hughes. And is that the moment that propels Wrexham to within one win of the Football League? Finally the breakthrough on the hour. It's Wrexham 1, the Yeovil Town 0.
Long throw by Tozer. Good start of the second half by Wrexham. It's in! They've level! Hooked in by Jones. Now this is some script in the writing.
And keeps it going. Another ball into the box. Dolby's in there. And it's driven in and deflected! It's Jones with the powerful shot.
And now can Wrexham break? It's that Ben Tozer breaking away there. Plays it to James Jones. He's been intercepted. Can he squeeze it into Hall Johnson? Plays it back. It's James Jones in the middle. Gets his shot away. And Wrexham have scored in the 89th minute. A counter-attack led by Ben Tozer. Nice 1-2 between Hall Johnson and Jones. And Wrexham are ahead at Meadow Lane. And that could be the goal that sends them into the FA Trophy semi-finals.
This is good. Cannon first time. Go on. To the path of Lee. He feeds it. Go on. One-on-one. Yeah! Goal by Wrexham. Come on! And Wrexham are Pulls it to the near post. That's great header clear by Blake Tracy. Mendy gets to it, mishits it, flicked on. Yeah! And Wrexham are home. And it's got to be Ford to strike. Goes over the wall and in. What a brilliant goal by Ford. And Wrexham do level. An inch perfect strike from Anthony Ford.
Some memories there from Anthony Ford and James Jones, both now parts of the Brewers squad, but very much remembered with fondness in these parts. Goal scorers and key components of the teams that earned promotion from the National League and League Two. Mere James Jones, over 100 appearances at the club if we start with him. One of Phil's earliest signings from memory in the National League, and particularly in the National League winning campaign, one of the first names on the team sheet every week.
Absolutely. I think, I remember watching him obviously over there in Mold Road, and you knew when he was on that team sheet exactly what you were going to get. An absolute box-to-box midfielder who absolutely ran his socks off in every single game. I think sort of maybe similar to the type of player in some ways that Ollie Rathbone is now, who's taken upon that mantle. Every week you just knew he was 7 out of 10 minimum, which is exactly what you want from someone in that midfield, especially coming up in these big games, and scored some big goals too. I mean, for me, one of my favourite ever Wrexham games was that Sheffield United game here in the FA Cup, and he notched that night with a really good finish, and provided a lot of fans with a lot of great memories, and was obviously part of a number of promotions too, which adds to that, and he'll definitely go down as a real special player.
James Jones misses out today, unfortunately for Burton, due to illness, Andy. But in all seriousness, what kind of messages do you think he would have passed on to Gary Bowyer about the way Wrexham play, and how useful will they be?
They will be quite useful because they'll know the intrinsic side of what Wrexham do, how they prepare, how they set up, all those types of things he'll be able to help with. But I'm just going to go back to both of them as players, if I don't mind, because their characters were so important to have around in the dressing room, and I think Phil Parkinson, there's so much is made about that he does so much homework on the people that he brings in rather than the player, and I think those two just sort of personify it with the way that they went about their business. They trained hard, they had issues off the pitch as well that they dealt with so well, and were able to still focus on the games in hand that they had to play. They come up with some really key moments, that Yeovil one by Ford, such a key moment in that promotion push. And I just think that they need a massive pat on the back for what they did and contributed to this football team, because even though they didn't play that much last season, they were still a huge part of setting standards and being around it, and so well played to both of them. I hope they have a really big future as well.
And just to that point, Andy, this season Anthony Ford hadn't been involved in any matchday squads in League One, was asked to play in the Virtue Trophy, and in fact the first Virtue Trophy game, I remember him being asked to play in central midfield, so sort of picked out from the training ground, told to start, not even his normal position. Shows you the attitude, and also I remember how well he played.
Yeah, and that's because he trains right. Every day he goes out and trains right, and you can be disappointed with not being picked or being out of the squad, but you're not doing yourself any favours if you don't train properly and look after yourself, because you never know when something might change, and they're both very professional players, and they'd have been bang ready to go at any point, because you just never know, that opportunity comes up and you're ready, you take it, and you're in the team for the rest of the season.
And on Anthony Meir, that goal against Yeovil, I remember being here that night, and you could cut the tension with a knife until he cut inside, again playing out of position that night at left wing back and ripping that shot in, and then two more quickly followed. It looked an easy win in the end, but for an hour it was very nervous.
No, he definitely came to our rescue that night. I remember watching it. I was up there actually with the women's team. I think we'd won the league the week before or something, and sort of put the pressure back on the men's team. And I remember going absolutely mad with Kim Dutton and Lily Jones when that one hit the back of the net for Anthony Ford, and like Andy said, had a lot of off-pitch troubles as well. So the professionalism was off the charts, and that was a really emotional, really special night for him. And yeah, he then propelled us then to getting over the line, didn't he? So really, again, another special player.
Well, they won't be easily forgotten in these parts, either James Jones or Anthony Ford. We wish him, of course, all the very best for Burton's run-in, once today's game is done and dusted, of course. Talking of which, we're just a couple of minutes away from the players running out. This one a 12:30 kickoff today. If you haven't sorted out your iFollow pass, you know what to do, I hope by now. Head to wrexhamafc.co.uk/live. That will give you the audio and video options. Mia and Andy will, of course, be on co-commentary with Mark Griffiths. We'll be back here on YouTube at half-time and full-time for all of the reaction as Wrexham take on Burton Albion. The Brewers struggling at the wrong end of the table. Wrexham trying to bank 3 more points. Wycombe playing in parallel at Reading today. We'll keep you across how the Chairboys go in the Thames Valley Derby. But with 6 from home, this is an absolutely crucial battle for Phil Parkinson's side. Can they pick up all 3 points? We'll know that answer shortly. We look forward to seeing you back here on YouTube at half-time. Bye for now.
For Wrexham leading the field, number 16, Rodriguez. He's being replaced by number 26, Stephen Fletcher. Mae'n pedwerydd sydd wedi nodi gyda'r lleafswm o 5 munud off, and our fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 5 minutes, adding time 5 minutes. In the game yesterday, Stoke Tigers are actually not much better for Everett and Albion Bristol Rovers. Get a kick on top and 3 on the wall. A reminder the next home game here at Stoke Tigers is on the 18th of April when Bristol Rovers are visitors for our Sky Bet League 1 match, which kicks off at 3 p.m. I Merched Wrexham and Barcaster Ness have a volley of ahead of Everett and Everett Higher Team. Wrexham AFC Women's next home game is at home to Cardiff tomorrow, Sunday, April 6th. Which will be played at Denby Town's Central Park. Match tickets costing only £1 are available on the day.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. It's half time here. It's Wrexham 0, Burton Albion 0. Burton Albion, though, are down to 10 men after midfielder Charlie Webster was sent off in the 10th minute by ref Seb Stockbridge for a foul on George Dobson in the middle of the pitch. Dobson having quite extended treatment from the Wrexham medical team, but he was able to continue. So Gary Bowyer's side are going to have to cope with 10 players here for 80 minutes, giving you feel Wrexham every opportunity to make this another victory. But for the 35 minutes that followed Webster's sending off, in truth, Wrexham struggled to create clear chances. Burton were camped in their own half for most of that time, but only really a Sam Smith volley which was hammered into the turf and bounced up comfortably for Max Crocombe came even close to threatening the Burton goal. Steve Fletcher introduced early by Phil Parkinson. It looked like it might be an ankle knock for Jay Rodriguez. Fletcher on after 33 minutes, so getting plenty of opportunity for the Scotsman to make his mark this afternoon. There were some stifled claims for a penalty for an incident against Fletcher late in the half, but contact did appear fairly minimal. At the other end, well, Burton, perhaps unsurprisingly, have struggled to really threaten Arthur Okonkwo, but they did have a half chance when a free kick was beautifully controlled in the box, but Okonkwo came out quickly to deny Julian Larson. Mia and Andy have been as ever on co-coms. Mia, how did you see it?
Yeah, I thought we started really well. I thought, if anything, we probably played a bit better football with 11 v 11, but that's always going to happen. I think, you know, just saying to Andy then, I think expectancy sort of goes through the roof a little bit as Burton get a player sent off and people thinking, right, this is going to be a rout now then, but that's not the case at all. You know, Burton, you know, we've seen in recent weeks obviously have picked up form a little bit, and, you know, they'll just get all men behind the ball now, and they've looked really good defensively. I think their shape's been really good, been quite narrow, and like I say, shape's been really good, been quite tight, but made it very difficult for people like Sam Smith forwards in the pitch to sort of make those runs in behind and get any real space, which has caused us problems going forward because we just haven't been able to really get on the ball and find the spaces like we were early on in the game.
Andy, has it surprised you that Wrexham haven't managed to open up Burton a bit more and create a few more clear-cut chances?
No, because I think they've gone into their low block, Burton, and 5 at the back, you know, a couple in front, and then sort of left Burrell to go and do what he can up front against O'Connell, and as long as O'Connell looks after him, we can afford Brunt to go and join in attacks. We can afford Cleworth to go as well, and they're going to be really key. I'd just like, when it does go out wide, we need a point man in the box, somebody to play off if we can. We don't seem to have that. We're waiting for that cross to come in rather than somebody to roll it to that maybe a midfielder can come across the front to. But they're going to have to be patient. You don't want to rush it. You don't want to just keep lumping balls into the box because they are really, really narrow. You've got to be patient because you've got to go one side and go the other side and keep doing it to then just open up those gaps, and then you can play through.
Playing against 10 men, Andy, will be something Phil Parkinson will have done countless times as a manager, but it is quite unusual for the opposition to be reduced that early in a game, isn't it? What will he be thinking in terms of where he can try and open the door on Burton? Because 80 minutes is a very long time to hang on with 10, very different to half an hour.
Yeah, and it might be the last 10-15 minutes that we get our joy because we are moving it and we're tiring them out. And so we've just got to be really, really patient, and that's including the crowd in here, because like Mia says, the expectancy goes up. Oh, it's an easy win now and it should be 3 or 4. It doesn't work like that, especially when the ball's in with a Conquo, they're right back on the edge of their box and they're waiting for us to come. We've got to just keep the ball moving, but move it quickly when we do move it, and so that those gaps might just open up after we have a bit of possession.
Let's have a little look at the statistics of the first half then and see how the data played out. We'll start by having a look at the attacking statistics, and as we've been mentioning, look at that possession stat. Wrexham quite often happy without the ball, but 72% of the ball for Phil Parkinson's side so far. 12 shots, I'm not sure I can remember 12 shots, but I guess it depends on your definition of a shot. Only 2 on target, and the one clear-cut chance, the Burton Albion one that I referenced when Julian Larson showed a lovely touch and Arthur Okonkwo was out super quickly to deal with that. Just one corner for each side. Mia, your reflections on any of the stats there?
Yeah, I think there has been, a few shots on goal, but of some of the crosses, the ball hasn't really fallen for us as we would have hoped for. But yeah, we've just got to get more on target. Obviously, that's how we're going to get our goals today, and that's where we're going to get success. But I'd just like to see, sort of around in that box as we get that ball further forward. Those sort of link-in plays would just be a little bit sharper. Can we just get a little bit closer, maybe? And there's been a few too many times that I think Matty James has just been forced to play that ball over the top a bit too early from what's a really difficult angle at times when he's inside. I think we're much better trying to go out wide a bit more. As I said, I think Andy touched on it on comms. Burton have been very narrow at times, allowing that space for Longman or McLean out wide. So can we use them? Can we then get Max and Lewis Brunt round them on the overlap? Because we can do that now with 11 with the extra man advantage.
Yeah, we're looking at the successful crosses there, 8 out of 17. So half the balls that have gone to the box, we've got first contact on. So it's making sure that we get somebody around that first ball. It's not necessarily we're going to go and power in a header from that first one, but we've had a couple of times where they've dropped it down and it's just not quite fell to somebody. Smith, he's not got a lot of great room, but that's the one that you're looking for, the one to feed off. Maybe a Fletcher's knockdown that you can put in, and then 2 midfielders. We can afford to do 2 midfielders to go in the box as well and go and get their chances. I think the chance that Dobson had, the ball from James that he brought down, and I think Crocom's given it up, and it nearly just brings it back from nowhere. That type of run is really, really key because they're so deep.
Let's take a look at the defensive statistics for the afternoon so far and get Andy to give us his reflections on those. These again have been ones where Burton have been doing most of the hard graft. You can see 18 clearances to 12 more blocks on the Burton side. The aerial duels, Wrexham having the better of those, Andy, but obviously there are options for Phil to try and open up Burton. We'll come to those with you both in a minute, but let's just have a reflection on anything you see there in the defensive figures.
No, it's just that they have 3 centre-halves and they've gone really, really narrow, sort of inside the 6-yard box width, and they're not going out of there. And so if we're going to keep putting balls in, they're 3 people that we've got to try and move around somehow. So it's somebody making a run across the front post, somebody making a couple of runs in, a midfielder as well. Try and put bodies in there to try and get on the end of one of these crosses, because that's what our plan is normally we get it out wide and we put it in the box. We can afford an extra man to go in the box and go and do it, but you have to move those 3 somewhere around in there, or if you don't, they're in prime position to head the ball out.
Mia, do you think this is an afternoon where we might see Ryan Barnett a little bit earlier than we normally do? Maybe Longman switches to the left, McLean makes way. Elliot Lee perhaps to come into the middle to spray it a bit?
Yeah, it's highly likely. Andy touched on it on comms, about Elliot Lee could be a real key one in this game, something a bit different, that creative spark in the middle, which I think we just missed at times, particularly in that first half, obviously. Just, at times I think Matty James, obviously, like I said earlier, just sort of forced that ball over the top a little bit. George Dobson, Ollie Rathbone not quite got into the spaces they would have liked to, and Elliot Lee, someone who can get on that half turn and really attack and go forward and look really bright on the ball. So that's definitely an interesting one, and obviously Ryan Barnett, we know what we get with him every week when he comes off that bench or if he starts. I think James McLean and Ryan Longman haven't done much wrong in that first half, really. It's just, can we get that ball into him a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, Matty James is not a player we've often seen withdrawn early in a game by Phil Parkinson, Andy, but one of his great attributes is his defensive cover. Now, if you're playing against a team that are down to 10 and playing one striker, you can perhaps take a bit of a chance on that. So maybe he might be the one, if Elliot Lee is going to come on, unusually, to come off in this particular game.
Yeah, but he's the one that's the sort of the metronome for you, if you like, whose ball comes in, he goes out the other side, and he's just going to get it on it, and that's all he does. That's all he should do in this game, is just keep the ball moving, but play two-touch for the rest of the game, and just keep putting in front, keep putting in Cleworth and let him go. And he's also just maybe the one in front to just help protect with O'Connell behind him. So
if Lee comes on, you think it would be for Dobson?
Yeah, I think so. One of them. I think as well. I think we go Barnett, Longman swap and get those on as well. I think that would be the way that he would look to go forward, and maybe give them 30 minutes at minimum to get at them.
And Fletcher, of course, an hour for him this afternoon. He won't have had that long for quite some time, Mia. Good to see how he goes over an extended period.
Yeah, he obviously can do it. We know that. I think it was the last time maybe Shrewsbury
when he started.
And obviously got a goal that day. So I haven't seen too much of him obviously in that first half. But hopefully, if we can get those balls into him, we've seen the partnership obviously that he's had with Smith as he's come on towards the end of the games. Can he do that again today? I think if we can get them two involved a bit more as well, that would only be promising for us.
Let's have a quick check at what's happening down in Reading. It is the Bucks Thames Valley derby. Reading and Wycombe, two sides who historically don't have a huge amount of time for each other, and they are cancelling each other out. 0-0 there down in Berkshire. So at the moment, just like in midweek, both teams having to settle for a point. Let's see if it plays out that way. We'll need to get clear because the Wrexham players are running out behind Mia, Andy and myself. Can Wrexham find a way through the Brewers? They've got 45 minutes left to try and do it. We'll be back here on YouTube at full time to see how this one plays out. We'll see you back here around about 2:15. See you then. Bye-bye.
Half-time substitution for Wrexham, number 29, Ryan Barnett, replacing number 7, James McLean, and also number 38, Elliot Lee, replacing number 15, George Dobson. by number 19, the WREXHAM. jersey, team number 4, Anthony Ford. You can now vote for your WREXHAM AFC by the match. Cast your vote on the official club website. Substitution for Burton, leaving the field, number 17, Jack Armour. He's been replaced by number 7, Thomas Kalinowskis. Pedwerydd Swyddoedd wedi dod on fydd yn archeuad symo 8 munud o Cynegol. The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 8 minutes added time, 8 minutes. for the 661 away fans. We do hope you have a safe journey home. Today's final score in the Stone Race, WREXHAM 3, Burton 0.
A very warm welcome back to the Stoke Kairas, where Wrexham have dispatched Burton Albion by 3-0. Wrexham really finding their groove in the final quarter of this match. A Steve Fletcher penalty and further goals from Sam Smith and Jack Marriott finally putting paid to a spirited Brewers who had, of course, to hang on for 80 minutes here after the dismissal of Charlie Webster in the 10th minute. 3 points banked for Wrexham then on a day when arch promotion rivals Wycombe Wanderers lost by 1-0 at Reading. It's now all in Wrexham's hands from here forward. A 6-point cushion over the chair boys. Wycombe with 1 game in hand. But put simply, if Wrexham win their final 5 matches, they will be promoted to the Championship. Well, for much of the second half, the frustrations of the first did continue, but in the 68th minute was the real turning point in the game. As Sam Smith skipped away, Max Crocombe, the Burton captain and goalkeeper, raced out to the edge of his box, cleared Smith out, penalty given by ref Seb Stockbridge, and Stephen Fletcher made no mistake from the spot. That seemed to really break Burton's heart and resistance. Smith was then skipping away a few minutes later. An excellent ball through from Ryan Longman slid him in, and Smith made no mistake for his 5th of the season. Wrexham weren't done though, even at that point. Jack Marriott hadn't hit the target since the 5th of October, but when he was played in from an excellent left-footed long ball from Ryan Barnett, Marriott kept his composure to finish beyond Crocombe and complete the rout. Wrexham victorious then by 3-0. Could this be the turning point day in the race for 2nd place? Mia Roberts and Andy Morrell have been on commentary. Mia, sum that one up for us.
Pretty perfect. I mean, I think the only sort of negatives you're looking at possibly Jay Rodriguez injury maybe, and obviously the Dobson-McLean ones I'm guessing are tactical for now, but that Dobson one could have been picked up from that early challenge from Charlie Webster in the game, so hopefully that's nothing too serious to think about, but no, perfect apart from that. 3 really good goals. Fletcher, great penalty. We said on there, sort of never in doubt, but
took it well.
It was very quiet before he did take it. I think there was a few nerves, but then obviously with the Wycombe result, as well, then it's a pretty perfect day for Wrexham. Obviously early kick-off, get it done. It means everyone can enjoy the rest of their Saturdays now with a bit less stress.
Andy, a great final quarter clearly for Wrexham, but the key point in the game was Max Crocombe's foul on Sam Smith. Now Crocombe ran right to the edge of the box to challenge Smith for that ball. Did he need to do it?
If he had come first and foremost when he saw it coming, then he would have got the ball, no problem, I don't think. But he just hesitated a little bit, which gave Sam Smith that little opportunity to go in. And for all the possession that we had, it was the one little time that we'd just gone flip, and Fletcher just flipped it over his shoulder, and in behind them, they're facing up the pitch. Smith's already on his bike, and he gets into that little pocket behind them, and it's a great little toe, and he's ready to get the hit as well from Crocombe, and it's a definite penalty. And like you say, Fletcher just took it as cool as you like, above halfway in the goal, which is unsavable whether he goes the right or wrong way. And he was the coolest man in the ground, wasn't he?
And then the other 2 goals after that, some similarities, both coming from wing backs. A lovely slide rule pass though from Ryan Longman to play in Smith. And Smith, again, showing the quality. That's what Wrexham have paid for. His 5th goal for the club, taking that chance superbly and really giving Crocombe no opportunity to save.
Yeah, really nice goal. It's just as soon as it gets won back by Wrexham, Ryan Longman's on it, and Smith absolutely straight away, the run he's making, he points exactly where he wants it, and then Ryan Longman just delivers that sort of inch perfect pass, and then Sam Smith does the rest. You really fancy him in that area at the moment with the form he's in. Just top striker in this league, and yeah, again, another top goal, and then obviously the one after that as well, Jack Marriott coming off the bench. Delighted for him to get a goal today. Hopefully that adds to his confidence as he goes into the end of this season too.
A little bit earlier, Mia, I'd seen Ryan Barnett when Wrexham were breaking forward, trying to find Marriott, and he couldn't execute the pass properly, put his arm up to apologise. Marriott obviously was pretty disappointed, shall we say, with Ryan Barnett's delivery, but as soon as Barnett hit that ball left-footed and Marriott finished, Barnett sprinted up the touchline. You could tell there was a combination of relief and delight, I think, at that moment.
Yeah, and I think it is poor defending from a Burton Albion point of view. I think they'll be really disappointed with it, but no, you can see Barnett immediately what he's tried to do, just sort of almost reverse that ball straight back into that danger area where we spoke about Jack Marriott on comms, didn't we, saying he's a little bit of a sort of a rat in those areas for defenders, just sort of sniffing out them balls, them mistakes that they're going to make with that ball over the top, and he does so well. And then it's really similar to the Sam Smith one, isn't it, the way he just slots it past Crocombe in goal, and yeah, like I say, hopefully that gives him a bit of momentum now going into these last few games, particularly if obviously Rodriguez is maybe out for a couple, that we've got him coming off the bench in goal scoring form.
For the first 60 minutes or so, because the back three was so deep and there was no room for Smith to move, once that goal goes in, it's a different mentality for Burton. And so on that transition, they're coming up the pitch, they're facing the wrong way, and Smith's got that space to go into behind. And like you say, it's a great little reverse pass from Longman, isn't it? And then it's 1v1 and they're going in at pace, but then cool as you like, just takes his time and then just slides it past both of them in those positions. It's a really good finish.
Let's have a look at the attacking statistics then for full-time. Well, we saw at half-time Wrexham's possession was 72-28. You'll see that didn't change very much in the second half. Wrexham very much in control of this one. They'd had a similar control even before the sending off in the opening 10 minutes, but as soon as Webster was dismissed, I think the pattern of the game was pretty much set at that stage. The successful crosses figure, well, perhaps a little bit lower than Phil Parkinson would hope for there, Mia, but in the end, if you put enough pressure on, eventually, most of the time, you're going to get your dividends.
Yeah, and we just weren't sort of knocking on that door, weren't we? And it didn't obviously take long until that door was sort of knocked down, which is brilliant to see. And yeah, again, just a really good day at the office.
Well, Phil Parkinson is ready, out of the dressing room nice and quickly. Thank you, Phil, for coming out so soon. What are your reflections on the 3-0 win?
Yeah, obviously pleased. Thought we started the game really well, actually. After sending off, we became a little bit slow and laboured in possession. We needed to speed our play up while still being patient, but crisp the passing up a little bit. And I felt we did that better second half, and we needed the breakthrough. And when we got that, you felt we'd go and add to the one goal.
You were bold in making 2 changes at half-time. Was there any concern in your mind as you made those alterations that you'd gone early in committing a little bit more attack-minded?
Not really. I just felt we needed, the craft of Elliott and Barney on the pitch at that point, and Dobbo would, obviously in the sending off incident has got a cut on his shin anyway. Jimmy had totally understood the decision, and I thought the lads who came on did really well for us.
How is George?
Yeah, George has got a gash on his shin. He probably could have carried on with some stitches at half-time, but obviously we'd made our mind up to make the changes, and so we'll get him right hopefully for next week.
The foul by Max Crocombe on Sam Smith, really the turning point in the second half, Phil. Before that happened, were you still confident that your team were going to get a breakthrough in the final quarter?
Yeah, you've just got to believe the moment's going to come. We've got to keep switching the play, tiring them out with the ball, and I felt we were doing that, and we had some nearly moments, but you felt if we kept doing the right things, it would eventually come. You never know, obviously. We haven't played against 10 men for that long. I can't remember this season, but listen, I thought second half we did it well. We got the job done, and it's an important win for us.
As Steve Fletcher prepared to take that penalty, was there a thought that flashed through your mind that said this could be a key moment in our season? Yeah,
but listen, you wouldn't want many players better than Stephen Fletcher stepping up to take the penalty, and what a great strike it was as well. It was a brilliantly taken penalty, and delighted for Fletcher gets himself off and running again on the goal scoring charts.
And then the goals flowed after that. 2 really good passes from Ryan Longman and Ryan Barnett, and 2 very good finishes from Sam Smith and Jack Marriott, a first goal in 6 months for him.
Yeah, I thought the timing of Sam's run for the goal and along his pass was really, really good, and obviously Sam was in control of that situation, and everyone is so pleased in the dressing room for Jack Marriott, because you've got to remember at the start of the season he was one of the key strikers in this division, not just here. He'd scored goals, and then he had that innocuous moment in training before the Rotherham game where he broke his leg, and it's been a long road back for him, and he's taken a little bit of time to get his sharpness back. We brought new strikers in as well. He's had to be patient, but one thing for sure, he gives us absolutely everything, and you can sense it in the dressing room. The lads are pleased that he's had his moment today.
Reading beating Wycombe by 1-0. Your old club doing you a big favour, Phil. They're still looking after you all these years on.
Yeah,
how do you feel?
Obviously pleased. Listen, the way I view it is obviously we're in a better position now than we were this morning. But listen, I just said to the lads, people will be saying, "Oh, Reading have beat Wycombe." Yeah, great, but let's concentrate on what we've got to do next week now. Have a good week on the training pitch. Rest up a few of the boys who've played the 3 games. I think that's really important, because on a hot day, on a sticky pitch, a few of them looked a little bit leggy at times that first half. Now gives us a great opportunity to freshen everybody up and come out all guns blazing next week.
I know you'll take it one game at a time, of course, but 5 games to go. If you win all 5, and that's how you finished last season, you're promoted. Does it feel different now psychologically that it's in your hands?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's Reading a good side, and I knew that game would be tough for Wycombe today. But obviously pleased with the result. Yeah, of course it's in our hands. But like I said, we're not looking too far ahead, and I think that's key for us. I'm just pleased with the lads today. The way they stuck at it. 3rd game in 7 days, and I thought we controlled the game. Needed to be better after the break, but I thought we were, and the moments came for us.
Phil, many congratulations on the win. We'll see you at Wigan. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers,
Phil Parkinson, Wrexham manager, his team bringing home the bacon this lunchtime with that 3-0 victory over Burton Albion, and the manager obviously delighted with that win. Let's have a look at confirmation then of the other result that's happened and what it means for the league table. We've of course got the programme of League One fixtures to play out this afternoon. We'll be keeping a close eye on those matches, particularly involving Charlton and Stockport, because they've still got their interest too in 2nd position. But look at those 2 results at the top. Well, if you'd offered us those at the start of the afternoon, then absolutely we'd have ripped your hand off. Wrexham's 3-0 win we know about, and that win for Reading. A penalty from Harvey Nibbs dispatching Wycombe Wanderers, who haven't scored in their last 2 games and have taken just 1 point from the last 2 matches. Let's have a look then at what it means, because we can see that little number 2 next to Wrexham's name there is going to show us that Phil Parkinson's side are up into 2nd position, and not only that, they have got a cushion which, even if Wycombe Wanderers win their game in hand, is not going to be overhauled. So Wrexham played 41, points 81, 4 wins from the last 5 games, as you can see. Wycombe there played 40, points 75, 6 behind with a game in hand. Of course, Wycombe can still collect 18 points and move up to a total of 93. But as we were saying to Phil Parkinson just a moment ago, it is in Wrexham's hands from here. Win the last 5 games and you are promoted. Look at that goal difference as well, which just a few weeks ago Wrexham's was far inferior to Wycombe's. Now just the 1 goal separating those 2 teams. Andy, is this the day we're going to look back on in early May and say that was the day that the fork in the road occurred?
Quite possibly, but I think you could tell in the stadium as well, from everybody stayed after the full-time whistle. Some tried to get a little bit of a go-ahead and get away from the traffic and stuff, but everybody stayed in their seats to clap the team, and the performance that they've given today, and with the swing and with the noise coming out of Reading, they know that this was a big moment in the season. Yet we've still got 5 to go, and there's nobody better than Phil Parkinson in the changing rooms to bring your feet back down to earth with a big bump. But he'll be saying, let's go straight on, rest up, because we've got now 5 huge games to go. And do we want this as much as everybody else out there?
And Mia, one of the things we've spoken about briefly before on Matchday Live is how difficult it can be in sport to be the front runner. A bit like in golf, if you've got a lead over the first 3 rounds, you go up for the final round, everyone's there to try and chase you down. We see it in other sports, cricket and rugby as well. For Wycombe, they have been on the coattails of Birmingham all season. They've been there to be shot at, and now they're going to look at the table and think, someone's gone past us and we've now got to do the chasing, and time is against us. Psychologically, that must give Wrexham a significant advantage.
Yeah, you'd like to think so, and I think obviously a lot of talk's been made. We've spoken about it a lot, about the run-in, and how it maybe favours Wrexham in a lot of ways. And I'm sure in that Wycombe dressing room they will have been hearing that and thinking maybe it does, as much as they probably would be very reluctant to admit that. Of course they would be. I think that does weigh maybe a little bit heavy, and especially after dropping points on Tuesday against a team like Shrewsbury, who like we all said, we would have expected them to fully go out and beat, and then to then back it up today with another defeat. It's a real tough moment for them at the moment, and it'll be really interesting to see what they're made of, especially with a manager who's not had too much experience. Someone like Mike Dodd, and I think that's something that could really play a big key
handful of
part
games
in
against 1,000.
Exactly, yeah. It's something that I think could be a real talking point when we get to the end of the season. Hopefully, something that's gone in our favour.
I think the majority of our players have been here and done it as well.
Yeah.
We've had promotions the last couple of seasons. They've all been involved in those run-ins. The one out in the National League was incredible. They had to just keep going and winning and winning. And so they've been in that position where you've just got to keep winning games, and hopefully that experience will hold them in good stead for these next 5.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Chris. I sort of look at it similar towards last season. I think, I think with 6 to go last year, we lost it away to Doncaster and then won the next 5. And I think you could, obviously, we hope maybe that mirrors what the sort of drop in points at Cambridge was on Tuesday. If we can go win the next, obviously 6, then we've done it, haven't we? And that's where it is completely in our own hands.
And next up for Wycombe, Andy, Huddersfield on Tuesday night. So Phil's old friends at Reading have done us a favour today. Now you've got your old mates at Huddersfield, Mark and Jake over there, who could possibly mastermind Wycombe's downfall on Tuesday night. But that's another key game, because that's the game in hand. And if they lose that, then that's 6 points. That's a heck of a lot to try and pull back over 5 matches.
It is, and it's huge for Huddersfield as well, though, where they find their season going as well, because they've not really picked up since the manager left. They won handsomely the game after, but then they've still dropped into that same sort of form, so they'll be desperate to get points as well. So that's a humdinger of a game there on Tuesday night, and I'm sure a lot of people will be watching from afar.
Yeah, for sure they will. If you're just joining us on Matchday Live, we're conscious this is a lunchtime kickoff, so particularly if you're joining us on the west coast of the US, I can tell you that Wrexham have prevailed here by 3-0 against Burton Albion, and not only that, arch rivals Wycombe Wanderers beaten by 1-0 at Reading, which means Wrexham have a 6-point cushion at Wycombe with just the 1 game in hand, which they play on Tuesday night. So Wrexham now have a bit of clear water between them and their rivals from Buckinghamshire in second place. We talk about experience, Mia, and it almost becomes a shorthand in sport, doesn't it, for something that's going to be an advantage. But having steered Wrexham, as Andy says, through that nail-biter of a National League battle against Notts County, and then last year when as you rightly said, things started to falter a bit for you from home, Phil Parkinson has got the muscle memory, the miles on the clock as a manager, to know how you pace teams through the run-in, you get the balance in training, you recognise that players have got tired legs from a long season, and keep them psychologically and physically in the best place to get over the line.
And you talk about him being an experienced manager with promotions. Well, 2 of those promotions have been at this very football club, with a number of these players who were out on this pitch or just involved in the squad in general. So I think that's a massive
and a further 2 from League One at other clubs.
Well, exactly. That's such a massive string that we have to our bow at the moment. And you sort of look at Wycombe and other teams. I mean, even Reading, who are now pushing for playoffs massively. I mean, we talk about the sort of the effect that result has on Wycombe. The effect that result has on Reading is absolutely huge. It's a great win for them today. But such a young side, with really little experience, and that has its pros and cons. Of course it does. But you look at this Wrexham side at the moment. Obviously, not only on pitch with players, but off pitch with staff, and we're just in such a good position. I mean, even today, looking at the changes we made, being able to bring on people like Jack Marriott, Elliot Lee, Ryan Barnett. I mean, there's not many other clubs who have that sort of quality at their disposal, and that's only players going off the bench. I mean, we've got players, not even involved in the 18 who you think are still League One quality. So we're just in such a good position, and like we say, thankfully it's in our own hands. So hopefully we can take advantage of that.
And for Jack Marriott, Andy, obviously he's missed a big chunk of the season through injury, but he's had a few opportunities off the bench since then. This is his first goal, as we've said, for 6 months. What can that do psychologically for him, confidence-wise, for the run-in? Because if the J. Rodriguez knock is something that's going to potentially rule him out of a starting shirt at Wigan, then Marriott becomes clearly an option.
Yeah, it's huge, because his confidence would have been... He was amazing in the first 15 games of the season.
Terrific,
he was absolutely on fire, and he was leading the league in goals, etc. And then he gets this innocuous injury, and it just puts him back, and then the belief and that doubt starts to creep in when you're coming back. Can I be that same sort of player? But he's just proved there today that the shackles were off. He was ratting around those back two, causing them all sorts of problems. And to get his goal again, he did it at the end of last season where he scored late on as well. That'll just lift him, and hopefully he will then chip in with another couple of goals through to the end of the season and just keep us ticking over nicely.
It's only one data point, of course, but I thought to myself as he scored that goal, nice weather, good pitch, better conditions. These are almost back to the conditions that he thrived in at the start of the season when the temperatures were a bit warmer. I'm just thinking his sort of all-action style and his pace at this time of the season could be a perfect fillip if Wrexham needs something in one of these remaining games, or possibly even as a starter.
Solar powered, do you think? Is that what you're saying?
I just think his playing style suits, warm weather, perhaps matches that are getting a little bit more spread, tired legs in oppositions who've got less to play for, all those things. I mean, we saw today Burton held out really pretty well until the first goal, and then they collapsed.
Yeah.
But until that point, we weren't looking that dangerous.
No, I think his desire, though, to just get on and change the game as a sub, you've got to have that attitude of, I'm coming out and I'm going to change this game for the good, and if we're 2-0 up, I'm going to make it 3. I'm going to be the one that scores the goals, and I'm going to be the one that add, and I'll just put a reminder in the manager's eyes that I'm still here, and if you need me, I'm ready to go, and he's certainly done that.
Absolutely. Mia, when you look across the rest of the pitch today, who else stood out for you?
I thought there were a number of ones, to be fair. I think Ryan Barnett's come on and done a really good job, but then Elliot Lee, I don't think he necessarily got everything right, but he just offered something else, and that movement he has, sometimes I think it goes really unnoticed, but it's just a difference, a real difference in there for us, and it just made that pitch open up a little bit in other areas, and that's something you've got to credit him with. Ollie Rathbone as well, another one today, as good as ever really, but and Ryan Longman, I think again he's come into his own in the last couple of games and really shown that he's done really well to come straight into this squad after signing in January. So lots of positives I think for Phil to take from today, and obviously like I say, that back three, I think Arthur as well made a really important save in that first half. Yep. And then obviously had little else to do, but if he doesn't make that, then it's a different sort of game, isn't it, today? So I think that takes him to 16 clean sheets this season, so
it's another one
he'll be absolutely delighted with that, and obviously the rest of the team will be as well.
I think the team's patience today, when they go down to 10 men, it is a massive turning point in the game for us, because then it's pretty much attack versus defence, and it's just how long can Burton hold out for. And we were talking about at half time how we've got to be patient and keep moving the ball around, and we did that, and like Phil said, we needed just to move it a little bit quicker to create those spaces a little bit quicker, and we kept at that. And it's hard to do that when the crowd is like, come on, we want to score, we've got to score, stick it in the box, etc. But they were able to do that today, and then like you say, when we got that first goal, then it was floodgates open, and it was how many was this end up, and that's how it turned out.
We chatted at half time, didn't we, about possible permutations for substitutions, but I was a little bit surprised that Phil went as early as he did. It's not normal for him to make a double change at half time. I can't remember it earlier this season.
No, he's a 70-minute man, isn't he?
Yeah,
bang on 70, and he just changes those. But no, I thought we spoke about Lee and Barnett, of that might be the ones that they change. I didn't think he would do it at half time, but it certainly would have been brave to do it, and he did. He's just certainly right, let's do that, let's get it going, because that's what I definitely want from my wingers, is we've got to add that, and we've got to add people right up the pitch, and that little bit of craft and guile that Elliot Lee brings is different to what Dobson brings you, and if there is a slight little knock, why not give him the rest of the game off, and it turned out to be brilliant decisions.
Absolutely. Well, I can see that we've got Jack Marriott, who is fresh from his shower, ready to come in and have a chat to us.
Well done, Jack.
Having a high five with former striker Andy Morrell. Jack, well done. Thank you very much for coming to join us on Matchday Live. Just how did that feel as that left your foot and went past Max Crocombe?
I think a relief more than anything. It's been a while. Obviously, I was out for quite a while with my injury, so getting as many minutes as I can in the game. So it's just massive feeling, unbelievable feeling to score, and more importantly the 3 points. The lads played great, and it was one of them games where you see those chances out there, so I was convinced I was going to get one, and thankfully put it away.
It had been a while to get the breakthrough, and Burton had defended very doggedly. When the penalty was scored by Stephen Fletcher, did you think at that point, Jack, this feel is going to change now and there'll be opportunities for you,
definitely, because at 0-0 they've got something to cling on to, and then we take the lead, so then they've got to push up the pitch a bit more to try and get back in it, so we knew that the spaces were going to open up, and they did, as you see with Sam's goal and then with mine.
Overall, as a team performance, what have been your messages to one another in there about how that went today?
We have to just keep going, keep having to be resilient in every game that we're playing, keep playing on the front foot, keep getting forward, getting chances, and winning games. We've got to be relentless in that.
We were joking a little bit, Jack, about whether or not your return at this time in the season could kind of take us back to the similar weather, the similar pitches, the similar feel of games when you flew out of the blocks and got 5 in 9 at the start of the season. Do you think it might?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I think that, like I said, the lads in there were just determined and eyes onto the next game, and we want to keep performing at the level we did today after we got the breakthrough, and we want to continue playing on the front foot and getting, like I said, getting those chances and winning games.
I'm sure in your long career, Jack, you'd have played against 10 men plenty of times. Is it nice as a player to think we've got an extra player, or do you actually think in some ways it's a bit of a double-edged sword?
It definitely is. Sometimes it's a lot harder than when you're actually playing with 11, because the team you're playing against, they're a lot, they'll sit off a little bit more, they won't get up the pitch as much, so you're trying to break teams down. And thankfully a great run from Sam gets us the penalty, and we take the lead, so it forces them to get out, and like I said, we made the most of that.
I saw Ryan Barnett sprint to you after you scored your goal, and I think that was because not long before that he had an opportunity to play you and he didn't quite get his pass right. Is that broadly right?
I think so, and I also think I think Barnett's just delighted that it's another assist for him, which is great, and for it to set me up, and it was just pure relief and delight for us both, and it was a really good moment.
In your own hands now, 5 wins and you're up. Does that change how the dressing room feels a bit?
Not at all. Not at all. We've
not even a little bit?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we just need to continue what we're doing. Feel as if we're chasing something, because it's there for us, but we know what we've got to do. Like I said, the club's been in this position for the last couple of years, and we know we need to be relentless, and that's the key word, I'd say.
Wigan away next up. How have you got on there personally in the past when you've played there?
I scored there before.
Yeah?
I scored there before. It was a header, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Big man at the back stick.
So yeah, it's again, it's another game, 12:30 kick-off. Let's go and put in another good performance.
Awesome. Well, Jack, many congrats on your goal today. Fantastic to see you scoring again and back in the goals. We look forward to seeing you at Wigan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jack Marriott, Wrexham's third goal scorer this afternoon. Obviously delighted at being back on the goal scoring charts again as he completed the Wrexham route today. Andy, nice to see a kind of strikers union there, little hand clasp as Jack came on. But I'm guessing in your career you'll have had a similar situation, right? A period of injury, you get that first goal when you come back.
Absolutely, and you can see the relief. And like he said, relief's the first thought in his brain. His confidence. It's that he's wearing that number 11 shirt quite well, because that was the one I used to wear. So he's keeping the goals coming for that. That's right. Yeah.
It's a shirt for the M's.
But he'll be delighted, absolutely delighted, because this morning he'll be going, can I affect this game by coming on? And he has done. He's affected the game, and he's put himself right in for a shout of, if you want to start me, you can do. I'm always available, and it'll be brilliant. It'll be brilliant. Even if he needed, whenever he needed, he's always given everything, and that's the type of character that Phil Parkinson brings in, isn't it?
And Ryan Barnett back getting 45 minutes this afternoon, Mia. He struggled a little bit for game time since Ryan Longman's arrival, but having had 45 minutes and created one and looked sharp elsewhere, it's going to give Phil some interesting options, of course, for Wigan. James McLean would be the one that would have to make way, of course, if he went for both the Ryans at wing back. Where do you think he'll go?
I wouldn't like to predict it really. I think at the moment maybe he'll stick with McLean. Just in terms of that stability, I think you get that extra
experience
bit out of him. Yeah, absolutely.
Against his old club, of course.
Of course, probably one of the only places this season he'll go and get a nice round of applause, which will be nice. I'm sure he'll be looking forward to that. But no, that'll be nice for him. But no, I think we saw at the end as well. He'd switched Barnett and Longman. They actually came to the opposite side, so that's something else. Obviously, he could do as well. So that's another interesting one, and I think it's a really good problem to have as well, because if we don't know what he's going to do, opposition don't know what he's going to do. So they're the sort of problems you like to have, and obviously whoever he picks, that there's real quality there.
I think Phil's a fairly safe manager, isn't he? So I think he would surely go with stay in the game, McLean, and if we can get something out of him, great. And if we're chasing it, we can always go to the two Ryans out wide, who are really progressive and 1v1 very, very good.
Wigan next Saturday, the next step perhaps towards the Championship. Andy, Mia, thank you very much as ever. We will see you on that short journey up the M6 as Matchday Live goes on the road next Saturday. Another 12:30 kick-off for that one. So again, a very early start if you're joining us in North America. Although maybe a bit better if you're on the other side of the world. Burton, of course, is the home of British brewing. But Gary Bowyer's team came to the racecourse today and probably left feeling bitter, because it was Wrexham who were left with the opportunity to contemplate perhaps a night on the beers. From all of us here at the Stoke Kairas, as ever, diolch am wylio. We'll see you at Wycombe next Saturday. Goodbye.